What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut. And today, as we approach week 16 of the NFL season, we are going to discuss why I myself dislike 3 of the 4 teams in the NFC South in our NFC South Rant video. And of course, the 3 teams that we will be discussing today are the Atlanta Falcons, the Carolina Panthers, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As you know from previous videos, I despise the New Orleans Saints, so they are getting their own video. Don't you worry. So, without further ado, we'll jump right in alphabetical order. We'll go with the Atlanta Falcons, and first things first, Atlanta MLB team. When you're one of 2 teams that I don't feel comfortable saying your name, I have no interest in you at this point in time. I'm rooting against you, and because, yes, it's the Falcons. I'm not talking about that team. But until the city of Atlanta changes that name, or at the very least completely bans their so-called tomahawk chop and allowing their fans to walk dressed like that, I root completely against you. I cannot root for anything Atlanta right now. So, congratulations. That's a knock on the Falcons, even though I have no real beef with the Falcons. Super Bowl 51. I live in the Northeast. Obviously, we live in Connecticut. And let me just say, when you guys blew a 28-3 lead in Super Bowl 51 against the Patriots of all teams, how do you think we felt, the non-Patriot fans in the Northeast? I was at a party, and I was so excited. I'm like, this is great. Atlanta's doing good. But you know what happens? You blow a 28-3 lead against the flippin' New England Patriots with Tom Brady. Us in the Northeast and our Patriots fans despise it. So thank you so much, Atlanta. For now, every time I go outside, I basically see a stupid shirt that says 28-3. Never forget. So thank you so much, and thank you for letting us see the overtime where you guys just seem to forget how to play football. Michael Vick. No discussion of the Atlanta Falcons would be complete without Michael Vick. Now, obviously, I cannot hold the Falcons accountable for what Vick did off the field. Of course, dogfighting scandal. But it's just a big knock on him. Vick always had the attitude, and they did the right thing. You know, they cut him when they could cut him. So, yeah, but it's just a knock on Michael Vick himself. So, Bobby Petrino. Why would you hire this guy in the first place? So, for those of you who don't know, Bobby Petrino was the coach of the Falcons for like 13 weeks, and then he just quit. He just walked out the stadium. He printed out a piece of paper and put it on every player's locker. It was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Have fun. Good luck. So Bobby Petrino was just not a good coach, period. Not a good person off the field. I don't want to get into that. But you gave him his only shot in the NFL, so that's a big knock on you. Fake crowd noise. Remember when they got caught pumping fake crowd noise, artificial crowd noise into their stadium during games? Yeah, that's despicable. It shows your fan base isn't even really there if they can't make enough noise to fill up a stadium. Come on. Big knock on Atlanta for that one. They did lose a draft pick for it, but wasting Julio Jones. You already went through and completely screwed over Roddy White. And White was nothing compared to Julio Jones. And it looks like you're going to do the same thing to Calvin Ridley. Now, I could have put Matt Ryan on this bullet list too. And I could have put Tony Gonzalez on this list as well. I decided against it. I just want to talk about Julio, because Julio's arguably the best receiver in the history of the league. Arguably, obviously, Jerry Rice. But you could probably find fans who will argue for Julio. So, you're wasting him. What did you do for Julio Jones? You gave him 1 Super Bowl appearance, and your defense decided to give up, and your offense decided to give up. So, good job, Atlanta. Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton. If you're not a Panthers fan, you are not a fan of Cam Newton. This guy has the attitude. You know, he's got that, I am super Cam attitude. He thinks he's the best player in the league because he went first overall, and he was pegged as a savior to this franchise. Guess what, Cam Newton? You're not. You stink. You're average at best. Cam Newton's dealt with so many injuries in the recent years that, oh well, whatever. It is what it is. I have 2 nice, beautiful things to talk about Cam Newton for, and they both happened during the Super Bowl 50 against the Broncos. Cam Newton obviously loses the ball on a play, and he goes to recover the fumble, and he backs off. He would have recovered that fumble, odds are, had he dove on it. But he hesitates and jumps back because he didn't want to take a hit. What? That's not being a team player. That's called being a baby. That's called thinking of yourself. You got to put the team first. Do you know every single game those offensive linemen put their team first? You know how many of those guys are playing with broken fingers, broken toes, torn ligaments? We just got report, that the Lions center played with a fractured throat. What are you doing? And then the post-game interview, he's just all neglected and stuff. Yeah, I get it. Emotion's good. But that conspiracy theorist that took the mic from him was probably a blessing in disguise for Cam Newton before he cried on camera. So, wasting Luke Kuechly. I mentioned it for Atlanta with Julio Jones. I was a big Luke Kuechly fan. I always loved the guy. Great tackler, great guy on and off the field. I still remember the last game I was really watching him play in against the Eagles was the game he got hurt. So, Luke Kuechly's a great player, sorry. And it's a shame that you couldn't get him anything at all. Is he a Hall of Famer? We'll see. He retired really early due to injury, but we'll see. Fake fans. Carolina has the fakest fans in the United States outside of Boston and probably Los Angeles. That will be another video. If you want to hear me really rant about that one, watch the Carolina Hurricanes video when that one comes out. Physical play style of the 2000s. So, the 2000s obviously is when I really started watching football. I couldn't necessarily comprehend what was going on in the 90s. I mean, come on. But they played a very physical game, and part of that is for the next bullet point, Ron Rivera. Now, Ron Rivera was an Eagles coach, and he got poached. Obviously, rightfully so. He got promoted from from a defensive assistant coach, I believe he was, to, head coach of the Panthers. So I have no beef with Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron, but I just wanted to mention him there. And when you're an Andy Reid disciple, you're going to have a physical mindset. Now, even before Rivera was hired, the Panthers had a very physical mindset. They battled through the trenches just like the Eagles, which led to some very intriguing battles between Philly and Carolina. Now, Carolina wasn't great, but they were still good. And the two teams always played each other well. Now, Carolina beat Philadelphia in the 2003 NFC Championship game, in part because of their physical play. Now, we all know that Super Bowl is the Super Bowl with the infamous halftime show. And yes, they did lose to the Patriots in that Super Bowl. But, I mean, they just played a very physical game. And if you play a physical game, that's just a knock on you. Especially when my team played a physical game at the same time. Last but not least, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady. Do I really need to go into detail on this one? Yet again, Brady loses to Nick Foles in a game. And yet again, he snubs a handshake. And then he goes out and says, oh, it's because of coronavirus. The very next week, he's shaking hands with the team. After he wins a game, he shakes hands with the opposing quarterback. He shook hands with Drew Brees after week 1. Why isn't he shaking hands with Nick Foles? And then you can't say, oh, it's just personal beef with Nick Foles like people are trying to say. Because then Jared Goff beats him, and he refuses to shake hands with Jared Goff. And keep in mind, I'm trying to avoid my discussion with him on the Patriots, because that's neither here nor there. But it's just ridiculous that people still think Brady's the best player of all time. He refuses to shake hands with people. Come on. I'm going to go with famous Jameis here, sticking with the quarterback situation. Jameis Winston, 2015 draft, when I was still in high school at that point, and I remember a buddy of mine and myself, we were talking, and we said, look, neither Jameis nor Mariota are going to be great, but if you had to pick one, which one would you go with? And we both said Mariota, but don't expect a lot. And the Bucs went with Jameis, and then Jameis has all these stupid incidences throughout his career. I don't want to list every single one, but obviously the big one that's really sticking out was during the Saints there where he did that stupid, oh, I'm just going to eat the W or whatever. You're not wearing a mask. You have to wear a mask. Sorry, buddy, I have to do it. Every American has to wear a mask. Why don't you have to wear a mask? And then there's the stealing the crab legs incident. There's just so many incidences of Jameis Winston thinking he's above everybody else. I don't want to hear anything about Jameis Winston anymore. 0-26. When they entered the NFL, they started off 0-26. They went 0-14 their first year and 0-12 their second year before finally getting a win. So this is more just to say screw you Tampa Bay fans right off the bat. Why did I choose orange for Tampa Bay? Well, take a look at their old uniforms and take a look at the thumbnail of this video, because their old uniforms were these ugly, ugly orange uniforms. They call them like creamsicle or something like that. It's just the ugliest uniform you've ever seen. Horrible, ugly uniform. Tampa Bay, what were you thinking when you came up with those? Cannon and Stadium. I get it, you're the Buccaneers. But why do you have a ship that's like run amok in the stadium? It doesn't make sense. It looks so weird. And then it fires, obviously it's not a real cannon, but it fires after the Buccaneers score. I don't want to hear that. You kidding me? I wouldn't want to go to a game there. Rob Gronkowski, the last point. Again, I mentioned him in the Patriots video, I'm pretty sure. I cannot stand Gronkowski. He has an attitude just like Brady. The guy's obviously coked out of his mind 90% of the time. Big knock on him for that. One good thing to say about each team, Tampa Bay. I mean, you gave John Gruden, you got John Gruden the Super Bowl, which is cool, I suppose. I don't remember Gruden as an Eagles coach, but it's cool. And I can't necessarily. I like Mike Evans a lot. I like Chris Godwin, and you gave me Antonio Brown a chance, which whatever. Antonio Brown could have gotten a bullet point on this list, but I decided against it. Carolina Panthers. Luke Kuechly was one of my favorite players in the 2010s. Always all over the place, great tackler, everything like that. So I was a big fan of Luke Kuechly. And Atlanta Falcons. I mean, you're the fellow birds. You're our fellow birds. That's really all I can say. I never really disliked Atlanta. They've always just existed to me. That was the NFC South video. Again, if you're wondering about why the New Orleans Saints aren't enlisted in this one, just subscribe to us and check it out, because you will be getting a New Orleans Saints rant video during the offseason. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a good rest of your day.